What do you know about the condition of the black man and woman of America? What do you know? You came here on our sweat and our blood. The riches of America were from the backs of black slaves, and you should never forget it. It's sickening to me that a man who comes here seeking something that's called an immigrant would look down on somebody whose sweat and blood laid the foundation for you to step on and get wealthy from the destruction of an entire people. And some of you look at the black man and woman in our condition and say, they're terrible, they're awful people. Yes, you do. You don't want anything to do with us. That's why you leave us. You don't come where we live to try and raise us up. You out in the white neighborhoods where you feel comfortable with white folk because you want to be like them. Here we are in America trying to be a Muslim, and you won't come and help us to be that. But Farrakhan is not a Muslim. I like what Brother Imam Malik said. Who of you is Allah that you now can judge who is and who is not? And by what standard are you using? What criteria are you using? Now look at your false criteria.
Our nation was built on immigrants. Our nation was also built on slave labor. And our nation had this Dred Scott decision, which literally said African Americans were not citizens, not entitled to be citizens. And what that wrong was finally righted when that Dred Scott decision was overturned by the constitutional amendment that did establish the right of citizenship by birth. But Mr. Chairman, you say, and I think this is a fair question, does citizenship be conferred just by birth? Legally, most scholars say it is, and I believe it is. But real citizenship is embracing the responsibilities every single one of us has to live up and promote the ideals that every person is created equal and has an opportunity to be their best self and contribute to the betterment of our country. So this argument about what's legal and what isn't, and I believe it's very clear that the law says if you're born here, you are a citizen here. That is just the beginning. It is up to each and every one of us to accept the responsibility we have to create a more perfect union. We're at a fraught time. What we're seeing is a rampage by ICE in the name of so-called protecting our citizens. We've had a debate in this country about open borders, and Mr. Chairman, there's been success in closing the border. A country does have a right to define what its borders are. We've had a debate about deporting criminals. Criminals are being deported. But what we're now seeing is a reckless rampage of mass deportations, and where people who have been here and are working hard in this economy, creating jobs, serving in the military, those people are being picked up by masked agents. And we saw how extreme it is in Minneapolis, where a 37-year-old nurse, a 37-year-old mom of 3 were both shot down without any justification. And this is in the name of a so-called enforcement of citizenship. The constitutional rights that we're talking about at this hearing, they're being violated. They are being violated. And what this hearing has to be about is ensuring that we protect the constitutional rights of people who are entitled to them in this country.
America was pretty much built on the back of slaves, through the growing of crops such as tobacco and cotton, to the building of the White House, the U.S. Capitol, railroads. Mind you, that obviously they were not compensated. I mean, when you're forced to work to generate profit for other people, people that own you, that's capitalism. The plantation system was literally capitalism, just an earlier form of it in this country. So what other things did slaves build? They built state universities, canals, roads, agricultural estates, things such as the Trinity Church in New York, Fort Jefferson, a military installation, the University of North Carolina, Monticello in Virginia. Then there's a ton of landmarks that were built because slave owners made their profits off of slaves. For example, Faneuil Hall in Boston, Harvard Law School in Massachusetts, Georgetown University in Washington, D.C. Then you have so many Black inventors that lost the credit for their invention because a white person took credit. But I can make another video getting into that. But after everything that Black people and people of color did for this country, whether it was forced or not, we still sit here to this day and oppress them. And that is just mind-boggling.
There is no good old days. It's a false narrative to make you feel trapped, to make you feel hopeless. There is a time where women were properties and only can be housewives, treated as subhuman with no rights, autonomy, merely baby machines. Racism was normal, with KKK rampant, which is all about white supremacy, whereas men are treated as disposable pawns and soldiers. Rights were never given, but they were fought. So people romanticize and blur out the ugly. Well, yeah, we could buy houses because it was affordable, let's say. But nowadays, we have better rights and we no longer die under fatality, war zone and such, most people. But now living costs increase 100% by inflation. Why? Because the billionaires keep the poor poorer, while the ultra-rich just keeps getting richer. With minimum wage, keep it low as possible. Can you believe that 5 ultra-rich men, own half of the world's wealth? That's crazy, okay? 5 men with like billions of us, half of our wealth. Who in the world needs that much money? I think people don't understand how much money there is. That is, like, it's crazy amount. You don't need that much money. And then we are being told to lie. Oh, you guys can make it if you work hard. You are just temporary poor, humbled millionaires. You'll make it. Really? That's a bullshit lie. So when they make you think about, oh yeah, let's bring back the old days. They are doing this to divide us as humanity, to put us against one another, the cultural war. Let's blame it to the brown people. Let's blame POC, blame women for our problems. Whereas it's actually the ultra elite, the ultra rich on top controlling you guys, the sheeps that do not have critical thinking and think that just because I'm a man, it's given to me. No, you guys have been lied to. And stop being sheeps and pawns for the games. Thank you. I just want to add that, plus, if you just want to make America just white, make it native, the only native people are Mexicans and Native Americans. The rest of us in America, if they live there, they are all immigrants. There we go. Just say you're racist without saying you're racist. The only MAGA I want is mega ice cream. There we go.
Chart a new course.
And this is true. I can agree with the words of Louis Farrakhan, because Louis Farrakhan is one of those great Black Americans or Black heroes who used to fight for the justice in the country of America. They are not fighting to take over the country of America. No, this Louis Farrakhan is among the Black people, all the Black heroes like Malcolm X, like Martin Luther, who are fighting for the great change of the and the unity of the Black people across the world, not only the Black Americans, but across the globe, the unity of Black people. Because if they believed in one thing, that if Blacks would have been united, then this world would have been in a better place, because Black were entitled to rule. If we can remember through the history that blacks or the black people who they're the one who ruled Europe before Europe was ruled by the white people or the Europeans. We had the black Moors, and they ruled Europe. They built Europe to a great empire. But after that, they were still overthrown, and they were still treated as slaves, despite all their contribution, fighting and freeing or freedom of these great empires to an independent states. Those people were assassinated. They were thrown away. But still, black people, black power never died. That's why today we're still having the black people doing great, accelerating each and every time, and they're doing great things despite their oppression and everything. And everything that they're doing today is making the white people, the white system to panic, because they never expected this. They feel like after pulling some bullets to some head of some African leaders or the black leaders like Lumumba, like Malcolm X, and many more, they feel like the black power was ended. But for example, today when you go to Africa, there are still much people like Ibrahim Traore. If you have ever passed through his history, he is doing great, being appreciated across the world, even in the white system, in the white nations. There's some people as citizens who are feeling like we wish we can have this kind of leader, because this is someone who is fighting for the interest of the people, but not for himself, not for the people who surround him, not for his family, but for his people, for the interest of the country, and for the interest of everything that's in his country, like resources and everything. So today we are still having the great black people who are doing great, and this is what is making the white America to panic. So first of all, do you know why the great empires are falling apart? It is because they were built not legal but illegal. We know that America was built through the blood, sweat, and torture of the black enslaved. They sacrificed their life to build these great empires. They played a major part in building this empire. Despite the oppression, they were assassinated, they were slaughtered, they were raped, but they never gave up. They never quitted. They kept on fighting, pushing, because they believed in one thing, that one day freedom will come. One day justice will be found. And one day the truth will be revealed. One day the same people from our lineage will trace their roots. They will trace their DNAs. And today we have been watching black Americans relocating back to Africa, because they believed that that is where they came from. That's their ancestral land. That's their originality. That is their DNA. So majority of them are still today relocating back to Africa to go and trace their DNA, to go and trace their real ancestral background. So as it is always said, that any empire that was ever built through the blood, they were built very fast. And the same, they will collapse very fast. Because you cannot just use some innocent blood to build your empire and hoping and expecting that you will last forever. We had Roman Empire, we had Roman Empire, we had Rome, but all today we only speak about their history, but they are no longer existing. And that is today what's happening in the Western world. This is not only happening in America, with this happening in Europe, in Britain, in Asia, across the Western world. The same thing is happening. Today when you go to Europe, when you go to Britain, when you go to America, all that's happening is the same. This is the time that we are feeling like the God of black people is doing something, is fighting for his people who have been living like captives centuries over centuries, and they have been fighting, but they never won the battle. They never win these wars. And today they are not fighting, they are not on the battlefield, but they are winning every day. And the same people that used to oppress them, they are coming before them asking for help. How many times we have seen white Americans coming out to ask for black help? How many times we have seen even DJT himself coming out to ask for for help from the black community. Because after they have rotated across the world, they're still coming back to the center. And the only people they're trying to view that they can give out their help are the black people. So we have every reason to say that black people are the chosen one. We're the chosen, and they're the only people who can change everything. And Louis Farrakhan, I like to follow up for the speeches of this man because he inspired me much. He has been warning the white Americans against their own system for the longest time. When he was coming out to address the audience, he was not only targeting the audience of the black Americans, but he was just speaking out publicly. Whether you want to listen to him or not, it's all about you. So you have to choose, either you listen or you don't. But the same people, but for those people who choose to listen to him, they got something. They got something which today is helping them. But for those people who ignored him, they are perishing today. They are regretting today. They are blaming themselves for not listening and for ignoring this man, because he has been coming out boldly, fearlessly, to warn white Americans against their own system, that you are today protecting these policies, this democracy will never protect you. When the time will come, the same democracy that you are protecting today, it will be the one that will destroy you. And we have seen today what's happening between America and Middle East. We have seen several of the white American soldiers, the fallen white American soldiers, being brought back in the caskets to their families for the burials. The same people who voted believe in this current regime. This is the same regime that has sent their sons and daughters to go and fight a war that was not even for them. They're being brought back as cactus to be buried. They're being brought back as carcass to be buried. And this is the pain. The pain that they're feeling today is the same pain that black Americans or people of color has been passing through. And nobody showed empathy over this. But today, they're feeling the same. And they're coming to realize that, if this is what these people of color have been passing through, we are so sorry and we regret treating them that kind of way of life. So I just wanted to present a video of, I just wanted to add a few commentary about what Louis Farrakhan has said, and I think this will be the end of my view. I just leave you to how to put something on the comment section. Just let me have your views. What do you think about this? I'm talking to black Americans, or from black people across the world, wherever you are. Thank you for tuning in this channel. You're doing great by building this brand so that I can be great and move together. Let me have you in the comment section, and be blessed as to connect to the next episode.